Mkhwebane of the intelligence services was again exposed in Parliament today during the impeachment inquiry of the public protector. A secret intelligence report that was used by Mkhwebane to conclude her report on an alleged rogue unit within the South African Revenue Services was at the heart of this testimony today. The Section 194 committee today heard from former Sars executive Johan van Lockerenberg. Tracking that story for us, watching developments in Parliament, is my colleague Lindsay Detlinger. Lindsay, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on Today This Hour. Just share with our viewers what kind of impact has the former Sars employee or executive Johan van Lockerenberg's statements saying in terms of this intelligence report on the findings made by Mkhwebane.
So really, Dan, it is calling into question how honest the public protector was when she conducted this investigation, whether she in fact had a copy of this intelligence report which purportedly shored up the claims that there was this rogue unit operating within the South African Revenue Services, and the evidence leader and Mr. van Lockerenberg pointing out to the timeline and what the public protector claimed at various points in this timeline as to whether she in fact had a copy of an intelligence report in her possession. We know that being in possession of an intelligence report, unless it's declassified and you have permission to have it, is highly illegal. And then the changes in Mkhwebane's testimony before court and what she had commented on in her report as to whether or not she had this report. She had said in her report on SARS that she was relying on information that she believed to be credible, and originally said she didn't have that report, and then later when this matter was on review in the High Court, she then said that a copy had been dropped off at her offices. The committee also today listening to a recording of a meeting she had with intelligence officials trying to get this to the heart of this report and seemingly trying to press intelligence officials to confirm that in fact there was this rogue unit operating within SARS. So it was a lot of to and fro. Johan van Lockerenberg, the first witness to actually give evidential testimony before this inquiry, saying he didn't know whether or not she had this report, and if he did know so sooner, he would have taken it on review a long time ago. So a lot riding on that report, but what it exposed more today was really how the secret services are operating rather than how SARS in fact is alleged to have operated at that time.
So Van Lockerenberg, I understand, also casting some doubt a bit on how the public protector, in the person of Mkhwebane, handled this investigation. What did he share with the committee around this issue?
Well, it's evident from his testimony, Dan, that he still appears to be, by his own admission, very traumatized by events 8 years on. The picture he painted for this inquiry largely is that he was ignored in this investigation. He told this committee that back in 2016, he had voluntarily, as a whistleblower and a former SARS executive, he went to the Public Protector's Office, shared a lot of information and documents, and had a lengthy meeting with the Public Protector's Office in sharing information based on these claims that there was a rogue unit that he ostensibly was in charge of. But he says when it came down to doing that investigation, the public protector totally ignored him. She claimed that she was unable to get a hold of him. Mr. van Lockerenberg telling this committee that certainly couldn't be the case because he resided at the same address since 2010. He's had the same phone number for over 20 years, and that the public protector's office had documents that contained the details of his lawyers, 2 sets of lawyers, and if the Public Protector's Office really wanted to get a hold of him, there were a myriad ways that they could do so. And so he suggested that this investigation was extremely dishonest because it had ignored him, and that the Public Protector was, for that reason, unfair in the way she conducted this investigation, and certainly conducted a one-sided investigation, which was also the finding of the North Gauteng High Court. But here is Mr. van Lockerenberg testifying before the committee today.
Ms. Mkhwebane not being able to find me. I wrote to her. And I wrote to her specifically on this particular matter. I did so through my attorney. Her attorneys responded on her behalf, on her instruction. Taxpayers paid for it. It was before Report 36 was concluded. We know that she wanted me to come in and provide her with information and record. She said that she couldn't find it at some address that's unknown. I'm saying she could have found it. She could have just contacted any one of those two attorneys whose email addresses are on the email and said, please ask your client to come in. But the point is, Ms. Mkhwebane lied about it. If only it had been made public, or if it had been contained in the report, those implicated parties would have become aware of it. I, for one, was not even aware that such a report existed. I only became aware of this report during these proceedings. Had I known before, I would have taken it on review years ago.
Okay, some of what the former employee executive of Sars, Johan van Lochrenbeck, telling this inquiry in Parliament earlier today. Lindsay, while that was happening, we also understand, there had been calls by the UDM for the President of the Republic to come before this 194 inquiry in Parliament to testify around the CR17, the now famous CR17 funding campaign way back in 2017 when he was elected as the ANC president at Nasrec.
That was a call that was made yesterday by UDM leader Bantu Holomisa, and that related to testimony we've heard over the last 2 days, Dan, which the point that the Public Protector's legal representative, Darlene Porfu, has been trying to impress on this committee since it started was that her suspension by the President has been unlawful. Just before we wrap proceedings this afternoon, we again heard how the Public Protector not able to access her emails, and these things all impacting on her ability to prepare herself for this inquiry. And so Mr. Holomisa then calling for the President himself to come and testify before this inquiry in terms of whether or not he is conflicted in taking that decision, given that one of the reports that will be up for discussion here and for determination before this inquiry is in fact her investigation into his CR17 campaign. And the Presidency a short while ago responding to those calls, and I just want to quote for you directly, Dan, the Presidency saying that that call is baseless, misdirected and vindictive, and says that the President has never made any allegations against the Public Protector, that he has suspended her according to provisions in the law, and that the courts have already found that she had no jurisdiction to investigate his political campaign in the first place because her ambit only stretches as far as investigating organs of state. And so for that reason, the Presidency says these are unsubstantiated allegations being made against the President by Mr. Holomisa, and for that reason the President doesn't see the reason why that call should be heeded to at all by this committee.
Thank you very much, Lindsay Detlinger, for that comprehensive update from Parliament. She's, of course, watching that impeachment inquiry into the fitness or not to hold office of the current Public Protector, Mkhwebane.